Hello, everybody, and welcome to a special episode of Meet the Blind for this month's National Blind Awareness Month. I'm Andrew Columbro here from SAAVI, and I'm here joined by Amy Porterfield. Amy, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. Hey, Andrew.
Hey, how's it going?
Not bad. Monday. We're
I
ready to
know,
start the week, huh?
very, very start. So Amy, just talking a little bit about, I know you have a lot of history within SAAVI, and maybe just talk a little bit about your experience with SAAVI and how it's changed over time.
Yeah, sure. So this is my second time working for SAAVI Services Blind. And when I first came to SAAVI, we were Tucson Association for the Blind. We were called TAB, great acronym, you know.
Yeah.
So when I first came on, I was working for an organization called Family Agency. Part of Emerge, is a women's organization supporting people that are dealing with domestic violence and things of that nature. At that time, a part of it now it was Family Counseling Agency, and I was the volunteer coordinator, where my job was to help link folks with transportation or shopping assistance or different things like that to help them, live their lives. It was kind of more of a social work position. And at that time, I was going to school with my master's degree. I had my son, who was, 3 or 4 years old at the time. And it was a really stressful position where if I couldn't find someone a ride to their doctor's appointment, they'd miss their appointment they've been waiting for 7 months and things like that. I found I took the work home with me a lot, and it was hard to manage. So I had applied for a scholarship with TAB at the time. And we had gotten into a long discussion of technology and how I went to school and the ways that I got around access barriers and things like that. From the interview, they offered this teaching technology. And at the time, I really was unsure. I really didn't think I wanted to work in the field of blindness. Both my parents worked in the field of blindness. I kind of wanted to go my way and do my own thing. But I ended up getting the job because of the struggles that I was feeling, things I was juggling. So I taught technology there. And while I was there, I was really the only blind person working in at the agency. And it was kind of a difficult position to be in. It was, we were not, I wasn't super proud of the services that we were doing at that time. We weren't very focused on empowerment of blind people, and we weren't really listening to the voices of the blindness community and the services that we did. There was a number of things I really wished would change. And so while I was working there as a access technology instructor, I was getting my degree in rehab counseling, and the person that was working there was really doing a lot of changes at the time. Her name was Sarah Jones, and she was a rector there, and she and I wrote a grant that would allow me to do my counseling internship there and continue paid, because as a single mom, I needed to get paid. So I was working there then as a counselor for a couple of years, and I taught in a bunch of different areas, and we started to sort of build a baseline of what services, look like. We were able to kind of grow and really provide more consumer empowerment services, bearing in mind, the voices of blind people. And, that was an initial, and I learned a ton at that time. And I also learned that I really needed to be in a place where we really focused on employing people ourselves. And SAAVI, then it had changed names to Southern Arizona Association for the Blind, went through some other kind of hard times and a little bit of a dark period in our history. A lot of people left and a lot of changes happened. And I left as part of that exodus that happened at that time. So I worked as a rehabilitation counselor, vocational rehabilitation counselor for the state Rehabilitation Services Administration, VR. And I was promoted, and I worked in management, kind of building and growing and developing programs and contacts and things like that. And Mike Gordon had come back to work SAAVI and to be the new executive director, and he started to hire more blind people. He started to hire a bunch of my clients that I would send over because he really had more blind working there and believed in that model. And I ended up deciding to come here myself. I've been there ever since. I've been here since 2007 in my role as the Chief Operations Officer. Was an Associate Director, now it's a new title, Chief Operations Officer. And we have done a lot of great work, really building our positive philosophy of blindness and growing a lot of great new employees and a lot of, hard changes and then a lot of great changes. We are where we are today, where we're really affiliated with the National Federation of the Blind and really focusing on people growing within themselves and growing that positive philosophy of blindness. And I'm very, very proud of all the work we've done and all the great people we get to work with every day. So that's my story.
No, it's a great story. No, it's awesome to see where SAAVI is heading. And with that, I know that advocacy is a big passion of yours and your family. Your husband is an affiliate president of the National Federation of the Blind in Arizona. So maybe just talking about some of the work that you guys do, or recently, some of the projects that you guys have been working on for advocacy purposes, whether it be for SAAVI or just outside of work.
Yeah, it's really important to us. My husband's a prosecuting attorney. And he lost his vision while he was in law school, and then got involved with the National Federation when he came in to actually he did services at SAAVI Services for the Blind. That's kind of where he got connected with the NFB. And so, yeah, it's really important to us. Our goal is to mentor other people so that they have a voice and use that voice. So the more people that learn that their voice counts, the easier our advocacy efforts. I think working with young people, getting people to know what their rights are and how to express that and learn, strategies for advocating for themselves and others. I think that's the most important thing that we get to do, is to bring in new people and welcome people and learn what it means for them to be a voice in advocacy. Education is really important to us, and being a part of supporting new parents in learning what their rights are when they're sitting through IEPs with their student, with their children, and making sure voting is really important to us right now. And so if you haven't voted and you are a blind person, you should know that you do have absolutely a right to equal access. So please make sure that you can get a Braille ballot, you can get one in large print, and that we're working really hard to make sure we get fully accessible voting available to everyone, so that we can get equal access to ballots that are equivalent to everybody else's ballot. So that is a big passion of ours right now. If you go early to the poll, or if you go on election day, that every single polling place should have accessible machine. I just used one myself. I just went and voted last week, got an accessible voting machine that everything was spoken out loud. It was a new machine. It was fast. It was just as had all the information tips, and it was great. And the person that came that brought up the machine for me knew what they were doing. They set it up in a matter of minutes, and it's exactly the way that it should be. But if there's been many times that we've gone and the machine doesn't work and they have to bring in a machine and people don't know how to, we could easily spend 3 or 4 hours just sitting and waiting at our polling place so that we could vote in an equal way to everybody else, and make sure that we're providing that education so everyone has that experience. So those are the things that we're really passionate about.
No, yeah, it's a great thing that having that accessibility for blind people, especially during election year, is very important. I must imagine it's probably a lot of work. But I know outside of work, you really like spending your time online shopping. I know watching your previous. Well,
I knew that would come up.
Yeah, I knew. I was trying to find a way to tie it in, but I did watch the one.
Yeah, we're not going to show this part segment to my husband, right? Like, this is between you and me, right, Andrew?
Yes. No. Thank you, promise. So I'm just talking a little bit. I know Cyber Monday, I mean, it is coming up pretty soon.
Oh, we just had Prime Day. I don't know. I mean, that was a pretty big deal. Things going on in Prime Day.
Yeah, I know.
And
I did hear about that. Yeah.
So yeah, I did get a couple of Christmas presents. I can't really say what they are because people might be seeing, but yeah, for sure. I'm really into the sales. I got that from my mom early.
Yeah.
And definitely I get the, hey, you got a couple more boxes out here. Did you buy more on Amazon? I'm like, definitely shopping is one of my pastimes. It brings my orphans up, I'm sure. So absolutely, it's a lot of fun, and I appreciate all the online sales that are going on right now for sure.
What is currently your favorite trend going on right now?
I'm not doing it right now, but I'm into the sleeves. There's so many cool sleeves. I'm so into like the new puff sleeves and the balloon sleeves and the lattice. I think that the new sleeve trends that have been going there for the last few years are really fun. And so I think that's cool. I'm really into the black and white and the polka dots and the polka squares and all those kinds of fun things that are coming out are really fun. So I don't know if that makes any sense to you, but somebody out there is watching and going, oh, I love that too. So.
No, yeah, no, I got it to some degree, yeah, for sure. I gotta start shopping too for Christmas coming up. It'll be here before.
Oh, excellent! Yeah, it's coming. Yeah, and I'm really one of the biggest things I think has come up is with Apple News and the new Apple News Plus, and every magazine is now available to me to read, and that was a really big gap as not having access to magazines. And I'll tell you, my mom was really great. We'd go shopping, and every mannequin, she'd make sure I went and checked out what was going on, and would show me everything or describe. And so I really appreciate that from my mom, helping me to get access to all the information. But now every magazine that I might want to read, my eyes are watering right now. Everything I would want to read is available through Apple News Plus and also through NFB Newsline. There's a lot of magazines there. So it's fun to have to become kind of a magazine geek because I didn't always have access to it before. So I appreciate that. It's a new thing that's available.
No, yeah, that's I did not know that actually. So I learned something new today.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think this about wraps up this episode of Meet the Blind. Amy, thank you so much for your time and effort. I really appreciate your insights and your time.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, yeah. Thank you, and have a good rest of your day.
Thank you. You too. See you later.
And remember, here at SAAVI, it's not what you can see, it's about who you are.
It's not what you can see, it's what you can do that matters. Absolutely.